You are with me, Evelis Chingambe. Coming up this morning, Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah calls for hard work, self-reliance and collaboration in strengthening local livelihoods. Government urges office bearers to be proactive when discharging their duties. And Ministry of Health declares an outbreak of vaccine-derived poliovirus type 2 following its detection in Blantyre. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in detail. Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah says hard work, self-reliance and collaboration are key in strengthening local livelihoods. Dr. Ansah was speaking in Kasungu, where she engaged farmers who are practicing diverse crop production and sunflower oil processing under Bomfa Cooperative. She stressed the need for creating an enabling environment to increase smallholder incomes, improve market access and expand financial services. Yamigani Simtoe with the details.
This is Julie Dankoma from Mende village in the area of Senior Chief Nyanja in Kasungu district. She is one of the 10 women who decided to form a farming club in 2005 in order to address economic challenges in their households. She explains that at that time earning money was very difficult and her family struggled until she was encouraged to join with others in group farming. Later, the club grew into a cooperative known as Bomfa Cooperative in the area of Senior Chief Mpoma in Kasungu district. Currently, this cooperative has 703 members, 493 are women, 210 are men, and 120 youths. They cultivate various crops and produce cooking oil from sunflower seeds. This is why Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah visited the cooperative to appreciate their efforts and challenges in strengthening local livelihoods and socio-economic development. The Vice President stated that the work being done by Bomfa Cooperative is a good example of development, and the government of Malawi, guided by the vision of Professor Athabita Mutalika, is promoting. She said the initiative aligns with government's agricultural sector cooperatives policy, which seeks to boost incomes for smallholder farmers, enhance market access, and expand financial services.
We see that when people go alone, they don't achieve much. But in a group, in a cooperative, they achieve more. That's why I brought all those visitors from Bunda and groups from Chewu, from Kampata, because I wanted them to see what I have been teaching them. I have always told them we are not going to give them fish to eat or osima to eat, but we will give them the fishing rod. And what is happening here is giving the fishing rod to the women, and they are able to get something and help their families.
Chairperson of the cooperative, Zaina Kapachika, said apart from producing wine, they also want to start manufacturing products such as whips, diapers, sanitary pads and other items by fully utilizing bananas without wasting anything. By promoting local agro-processing industries in rural areas, Malawi seeks to make such establishments as key pillars of national economic growth, a vision the country aspires to realize by 2063. Yamigani Simutowe, MBC Kasungu.
Chief Secretary Justin Saidi has called on the Malawi delegation that represented the country at Congress of Parties 30 in Brazil to translate outcomes of the conference into tangible actions such as reducing climate-induced disasters. Saidi made the call in Lilongwe at a COP30 dissemination workshop. Isaac Jali with a story.
Speaking at the COP30 dissemination workshop in Lilongwe, Chief Secretary Dr. Justin Saidi emphasized the need for institutions and individuals representing Malawi at international climate conferences to be proactive and result-oriented. Dr. Saidi said Malawi continues to experience devastating effects of climate change, including floods and droughts, and stressed that resolutions made at such global meetings must translate into concrete interventions on the ground. The Chief Secretary further observed that Malawi must strategically position itself to benefit from new climate financing mechanisms, noting that adequate financing is critical for the successful implementation of climate adaptation and mitigation programs. He added that Malawi should leverage COP30 outcomes not only to respond to climate shocks, but also to tap into emerging opportunities in renewable energy, green job creation, sustainable land management, and climate-resilient infrastructure development.
You recall last year we sent a team of Malawians to participate in the Conference of Parties 30, which is COP30. It's an issue to do with the climate change, resilience, and whatever. So it is important that whatever we got there, we have to implement here. There are some of programs that we got even funding for, and we expect our people to do as agreed. And this workshop is merely looking at disseminating whatever we got, because not all people were there, and how they can support the government in the implementation of issues of climate change in Malawi. So as a country, we need to work more on some bankable projects that next time we go to COP should be maybe COP31, we should be able to even come back smiling. It is important because any country cannot survive without looking at issues of weather degradation. We need to implement all those projects so that we are able, as Malawi, to be safe from devastation.
Meanwhile, environmental activist Matthews Malata echoed the Chief Secretary's sentiments, saying Malawi urgently needs increased investment in clean energy, soil management, and other climate-smart interventions if the country is to withstand climate-related shocks.
As a country, definitely we need to continue to mobilize resources, and the little resources that we are receiving, we must also put those resources to good use. We need to come up with very, very clear investment plans, climate change investment plans, and I'm happy that last year the government did successfully pitch, I think, over 26 projects, different sectors, waste management, energy, agriculture, and others. And these are the core areas that we need to keep on focusing on as a country. We need to see how best we can accelerate access to sustainable energy to our people, both for cooking, for lighting, and other things.
The Conference of Parties 30, which was held in Belém, Brazil, among other resolutions, agreed to scale up financing for developing countries to about $300 billion by 2030, aimed at strengthening their capacity to respond to the impacts of climate change. Isaac Jali, MPC, Lilongwe.
Government has noted with serious concern recent public statements attributed to some government officials insinuating that priority in the distribution of relief items and access to the Farm Input Subsidy Program FISUP should be given to those who voted for the current administration. According to a press statement signed by Chief Secretary in the Office of the President, Justin Saidi, the position of President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika's administration is clear and unequivocal in stating that every Malawian, regardless of political affiliation or how they voted in the 2025 tripartite elections, is entitled to fair and equal access to relief assistance and/or government and social support programs. The statement further says all public officers are therefore directed to continue strictly observing, implementing, and riding on the President's One Malawi vision and to administer all government programs solely in the national interest. Government has called on authorities to be proactive when discharging their duty. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Ben Piri, made the call when he engaged Blantyre City Council officials and contractors from the southern region. The meeting was aimed at sharing notes on the yet-to-be-rolled-out 5 billion kwacha Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Charles Pensulo reports.
While meeting the Blantyre City Council officials, the Minister of Local Government, Ben Piri commended the city mayor Isaac Jomo Osman for showing clear direction when executing his duties. He said the mayor has shown commitment to complementing government's efforts in transforming the nation. Piri then urged the city council officials to emulate the gesture, saying the country's leadership is geared to making Malawi a better place to live. The local government minister then asked for the proper use of the 5 billion kwacha CDF to be rolled out soon.
His Excellency the President, Professor David Mutharika, has laid out his vision on how he wants this country to develop, move from where we are to a next level. But the President sits at his residence and he has given us responsibility, charged us to make sure that his vision is implemented. For that to happen, councils are very important. So what we're doing is to impart the vision of the President to them.
And to the contractors, Ben Piri urged them to desist from doing substandard work. According to Piri, the contractors are potential implementers of projects to be financed under the CDF, hence the need to strive for quality work.
We were encouraging the engineers to up their game, to protect taxpayers' money, to make sure that all is well. What to expect? We are under the new guidelines, under the new leadership, we will be diligent to making sure that in our execution, we do it as unto the Lord. We do it respecting taxpayers' money.
In his remarks, the Blantyre City Mayor Isaac Jomo Osman said he will make sure that funding meant for the city is used accordingly.
I'm here to work, and I'm not here by mistake. And I promise the people who live in Blantyre that we are going to implement what the minister said. And I mean it. You know, sometimes me, I'm not good on talking. I'm good on action.
During the meeting, the local government minister Ben Piri launched a 1 million kwacha sanitation competition for ward councillors across the city. The competition received massive support from other well-wishers, and it has reached up to 5 million kwacha after contributions from the well-wishers. The competition will see well-performing ward councils being awarded money prizes for improving cleanliness. The aim of the competition, according to the minister, is to make the city of Blantyre clean and free from disease outbreaks such as cholera. Charles Bensulo, MPC News, Blantyre.
Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority (MACRA) has been directed to tighten enforcement of the Data Protection Act, warning that weak safeguards could erode public trust in Malawi's growing digital economy. Minister of Information and Communications Technology Shadrack Namalomba made the remarks during the opening of a two-day data protection conference in Lilongwe, held under the theme Privacy by Design. Emmanuel Chukonso reports.
The minister says as Malawi accelerates its digital transformation agenda, protecting personal data is no longer optional but a necessity. He stressed that government remains committed to expanding information and communication technologies as a catalyst for national development and private sector growth, describing data as a critical driver for innovation, evidence-based decision-making, and improved public service delivery. However, Namalomba cautioned the failure to effectively implement the Data Protection Act could undermine confidence in the digital systems and slow economic progress.
When you look around, you see women being bullied. You see impersonation. You see, documents being faked, signatures of people, innocent people. So, but yet we have an authority. Yet we have the law. Are we using the law? So there is a lot that we must do. We must move from sensitization, bringing an awareness, but to action.
Meanwhile, MACRA Board Chairperson, Council Chancellor Gondwe, says the authority is intensifying public awareness campaigns while strengthening oversight mechanisms to close compliance gaps. Gondwe adds that MACRA is also monitoring emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence, to prevent misuse and breaches of Data Protection Act.
As a nation, we must have systems in place that should be able to address breaches, data breaches that are there,
issues to do with cyber security. I think some of the systems are already in place. What is most important is now to start implementing and start enforcing the data breaches that are there, and start sanctioning those people who will be breaching data privacy issues.
Government believes that through stronger enforcement, responsible innovation, and sustained public awareness, Malawi can build a digital economy anchored on trust, security, and inclusive growth. Emmanuel Chikonso, MBC News, Lilongwe.
You're watching MBC News and you are with me, Evelis Jingambe. A reminder of the top stories. Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah calls for hard work, self-reliance, and collaboration in strengthening local livelihoods. Government urges office bearers to be proactive when discharging their duties. And Ministry of Health declares an outbreak of vaccine-derived poliovirus type 2 following its detection in Blantyre. Welcome back. The Indian government will continue supporting Malawi in various sectors, including health, to help the country achieve its development aspirations. Indian High Commissioner to Malawi, Amararam Guja, made the remarks in Lilongwe during the 77th Indian Republic Day celebrations, marking a significant milestone in India's history. Madalitso Muhango reports.
India became a republic on 26th January 1950, marking the enactment of the Indian Constitution. The event celebrates India's history, government, and traditions. Speaking during the event, Indian High Commissioner to Malawi, Amararam Guja, said India and Malawi have developed a strategic partnership which is strengthened by shared culture, beliefs, and values, contributing to the economic development of both countries.
Leadership of both countries, Malawi and India, they have a great understanding. They enjoy very good relations because in 2024 the Honorable President of India visited, and we reviewed the entire gamut of bilateral relations, and it was a reaffirmation from the highest leadership from India that always Malawi can count India on its development partnership for growth and progress. So this is the second vertical. Third is the economic and commercial partnership, which is trade and investment.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, George Jabonda, commended the Indian government for its unwavering support across multiple sectors. Jabonda reaffirmed Malawi's commitment to deepening its partnership with India to drive the country's economic growth.
We have been receiving loans from India over the years. One. Two, they have also helped us in the field of agriculture, especially irrigation. They have also helped us in the field of health. They have given us equipment in our hospitals and so on, which is very good. Field of education, including myself. I studied in India myself, and you can imagine if myself was studying in India under the Indian government cultural relations scholarship scheme. This scholarship scheme are still going on, and there are many people who are going on long term.
Malawi and India established bilateral relations in 1964. The relationship focuses on enhancing cooperation in various sectors to meet development goals of both countries. Madalitso Muhango, MBC News, Lilongwe.
The Ministry of Health and Sanitation has declared an outbreak of circulating vaccine-derived poliovirus type 2 following its detection in environmental samples in Blantyre. In a statement, Secretary for Health and Sanitation Dr. Danna Maliga said the virus was identified through routine sewage surveillance at 2 sites within the city. The ministry has cautioned that the disease poses serious health risks and can cause irreversible paralysis, especially in children, similar to the wild poliovirus. The ministry has, however, announced plans to conduct supplementary immunization campaigns to protect children and prevent further transmission. Malawi last mounted a polio response in 2022 after an outbreak of wild poliovirus type 1. The Ministry of Education says it will soon start offering new subjects such as Chinese, Kiswahili, Portuguese and Arabic, business and financial studies, among others, in the country's secondary schools. This was revealed at the Malawi Institute of Education when Secretary for Education Ken Dala opened the drafting of syllabuses for elective subjects lower secondary for national secondary curriculum. Kumalawi Perry has filed us this report.
Apart from the subjects that have been offered in the country's secondary schools, which include English and French, an additional 14 elective subjects will soon be incorporated into the country's secondary syllabus. According to Secretary for Education Ken Dala, the introduction of these 14 electives follows new developments in education frameworks, both regionally and globally. Ndala said the elective subjects will play a critical role in broadening students' academic horizons while nurturing individual talents and interests and equipping students with diverse skills and knowledge.
And so far, we are now at a point where we are developing syllabuses. Phase 1, we developed core subjects, syllabuses, and this time we are developing elective subjects for lower secondary. Some of the subjects that possibly they haven't been traditional subjects. For example, Chinese, you talk about Kiswahili, showing that the curriculum is now integrating, I think, new developments that are actually happening in education. So the whole idea of coming up with a curriculum review is that after we have implemented a curriculum over a 10-year period or so, or in addition, we have to be able to come to review it. And then this is the process that we are currently doing. The idea is that we actually want to integrate the diversity. We have to integrate, I think, the changes that have actually happened over time, but at the same time also anticipating the forward-looking. How do we actually want our education to be in the next years to come?
Ndala further said the ministry is moving towards a competency-based curriculum as opposed to the output-based one, which he said promotes memorization of material. He therefore urged the developers of the curriculum to ensure that the curriculum reflects competency-based design.
It is actually competence-based. The idea is that there has to be a link between what is happening in a classroom and what is going to happen outside. In other words, the challenges that we are facing as a country, as communities, these have to be linked to what is provided in education. So the idea is that there has to be some competences in skills that we actually want our learners to acquire. So once they actually have those competences, they are supposed to be able to apply them when they are now working, I think, in the country. So I think the whole idea is that we want them to acquire some skills. We are differentiating it with the output base, which usually it actually enhances memorization of content. But this one, we actually want them to actually have some hands-on, which is going to be linked with the challenges that we actually face. And I think that's the direction that the Ministry of Education is actually following.
The curriculum review drafting exercise being carried out at the Malawi Institute of Education, MIE, will run for a period of 2 weeks and has brought together education specialists, teachers and education administrators to bang heads in order to come up with a syllabus that resonates not only with Malawi's development blueprint but also regional and global education trends. Kumbukani Piri, MBC News, Zomba.
The Ministry of Youth says a well-informed and disciplined innovator has the ability to effectively contribute to the realization of Malawi 2063 development blueprint. Director of Administration in the Ministry, Peter Mutete, made the remarks during the opening of a 2-day Youth Innovation Fund workshop in Blantyre. Mutete explains.
The great ideas have now been identified, and before they start implementing, they need to be capacitated. They need to have foundational knowledge concerning how they can have their businesses, business models, financial management, okay, and how they can progress, okay. So discipline Having an idea is one thing, but implementing the idea, you need to have disciplined actions. So they need to be capacitated on what to prioritize, how to use the money that will be given. Yes. The Ministry of Youth is very much committed because in collaboration with the National Youth Council of Malawi, we will make sure that this initiative will not just be impactful, but should be well governed. Okay, the accountability should be there. Okay, the money should be put in the right direction. Yeah, so we will work together with the NICOM in order to make sure that it should not only benefit these first selection, but it should go to all Malawians.
One of the participants, Kaifas Matiki from Balaga, says with the knowledge gathered, he hopes to compete on the international market.
This fund is very important as it will help my business to grow and then to take my products countrywide as well as beyond the borders of Malawi. The founder of Preserve Valley, a waste management company that we are into recycling, and also we offer garbage collection and proper disposal services to households and any other places where waste could be generated. So at the moment we are combining recycled plastic waste with the African cloth commonly known as chitenje for the making of a variety of bags, including backpacks, handbags, wallets, hustle bags, and we also accept bag designs from our clients so that we can customize a bag for them.
And that's it from our newsroom this morning. A recap of our top stories before we leave. Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah calls for hard work, self-reliance and collaboration in strengthening local livelihoods. Government urges office bearers to be proactive when discharging their duties. And Ministry of Health declares an outbreak of vaccine-derived poliovirus type 2 following its detection in Blantyre. For more updates, visit MBC Digital on Facebook, X and Instagram. You've been with me, Evelis Jangambe. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
And welcome. It's time for weather update. Expect cloudy conditions with localized thunderstorms and rains mainly over the central and northern areas, but heavy episodes are also expected over the lakeshore areas. This is all due to the influence of the IDCZ.